Wyatt Earp's greatest distinction as Marshal of Wichita, Kansas, was based on the fact that in 100 showdowns with armed lawbreakers, he preferred to disable an opponent rather than shoot to kill. But George Peshour, a renegade of such villainy that he was expelled from the Thompson gang of outlaws, managed to anger Wyatt into a killing temper. On the western frontier of 1875, Marshal Earp was considered reckless and foolishly quixotic to spare outlaws' lives at the risk of his own. And in the case of George Peshour,
check in your guns quick. When Earp shows up, nobody knows nothing about this hoorah. I'm in town on business, but Rawhide and Deacon Earp, that's my pleasure.
I beg your pardon. Are you by any chance Mr. George Peshour?
That's right. You must be that English fella.
Oh, you can tell?
Don't worry about it, son. Time you spent a couple of months on that spread you figured on buying, you look like a cowman same as anybody else.
I shall try to be, Mr. Peshour.
What do you say? Let's go in and get a drink.
Thank you. I'd like...
Well, if it isn't our Miss Prim.
Sorry. We haven't one vacant room.
Oh? Is your bar filled up, too? Come along, mister. I don't believe I remember your name from the letter.
Evatt. Rodney Evatt.
Ah.
I don't like the name Miss Prim. Do you mind if I call you Miss Primrose?
The guest is always right.
Nobody ever gets anywhere with her, son. She's a mama's girl, proper and prim.
Well, I've been here 2 days, and this is the first time she's spoken. I thought customs were a little bit more breezy out here in Western America.
Well, you didn't speak to me.
Well, that's true, but I thought the lady was supposed to speak first.
hello, Mr. Peshour.
Hello, Deacon. Son, this is Deacon Wyatt Earp, the big law and order man in this town.
Marshal Earp, I've heard a lot about you.
Who did that shooting just now?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't, huh? You're a liar. You still want to say you don't know anything about it?
Look, Earp, you run it over me and Chad Pierce once in Ellsworth. Don't try it here. Now, you didn't see this shooting. Try and find a witness that'll say they saw me.
You're still a liar.
Now, gentlemen. Aren't those fighting words here in Western America?
Come on, son. We got business to talk over. He's wearing guns. I'm not.
I'll say that I saw him.
Did you, Miss Coyle?
No. But if it'll help you put him in jail, well, I'm morally certain that he and his crowd did it.
So am I. But you stay out of this. Mr. Peshour is a real nasty man. Is that, Englishman a friend of his?
I don't know. Mr. Evatt checked in yesterday.
Well, they couldn't be friends. Mr. Evatt looks like a newcomer to me.
Yes, he is.
Well, I guess he's over 21. Say hello to your mother for me.
Mr. Earp.
Look, there's nothing I can do, Miss Coyle.
But you know that man's going to cheat Mr. Evatt in some way. Why isn't Peshour the one that Ben Thompson refused to ride with anymore?
Yeah?
Then Mr. Evatt's in real danger.
Well, he's liable to be doped out of some money, yeah.
Well, can't you warn him or tell him that...
Look, the British are as stubborn a group as we have. A lot of them have bought ranches in Texas and Arizona territory. If they've been cheated, they kept their mouths shut and worked their own way out of it. Don't you worry about him. He'll be all right. You just help your mother take care of this hotel.
Now, these two sections have year-round grass. The little stony creek runs right through the middle of the place.
Well, it sounds ideal for cattle.
She'll carry 5,000 head, easy.
Well, where do I buy the cattle?
From the same place you buy the ranch. George Peshour and Company.
Good. Oh, that simplifies matters. I'd like to see the place. Could we ride down that day?
Well, not today, son. It's 150 miles.
100? Well, that would be a bit of a gallop, eh?
I say, young chappie, you must be a blinking Britisher.
Why, yes, I am.
Fancy that. And how's your fuddy-duddy old queen?
You take that back and apologize to my friend.
I'm apologizing to no one. Kings, queens, or even you.
No. No, he's mine.
Nor you.
Stop it!
I'll fix you.
No! Mr. Erb!
You killed him.
I had to. He'd have got you.
Yes. I don't know what to say. Thank you, man, for saving one's life is a...
No, forget it, son.
I won't forget it, Mr. Peshawar. I won't forget it. This man tried to shoot me. My friend here shot him first. Is that the way it happened?
Mr. Evett and the cowhand were fist fighting. Then Mr. Evett knocked him down and he drew a gun from the rack. Mr. Peshawar shot first.
With what? With this?
You're under arrest.
For saving my friend Evett?
No, for not checking this.
Marshal, it's obvious that...
There'll be an inquest. You can tell your story then. Men, pick him up and carry him to Dr. Fabric's office.
He doesn't need a doctor, he's dead.
Dr. Fabric is also our coroner. Come on, we'll take a walk over to the jail.
That marshal out of his mind. Mr. Peshawar saved my life, and now he's being arrested. It doesn't make sense.
Well, you're the one who's addled.
Addled? Oh?
Peshawar's a killer. Why, he didn't care about saving you. He saw a chance to kill a man, and he took it.
I beg to differ with you. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'll go bail for Mr. Peshawar.
Wait. Just answer one question, please.
Of course.
Is Peshawar trying to sell you something?
A ranch and some cattle? You American woman. It's amazing.
Cora. Yes, Mother.
Lock the door, lock the door. Oh, this is dreadful. Right in our own lobby. Oh, we never should have bought this hotel. And you, poor child, had to see it. I don't see how you managed not to faint.
Now, Mother, you know I never...
What's to become of us? And of this hotel?
Just business as usual, Mother.
Oh, Cora, how can you be so calm? A shooting right in our lobby.
But it's going to be a lot worse.
What?
I just finished talking to Jed, and he said that...
Jed?
One of our bartenders, Mother.
Oh, yes, Jed. He's one of our bartenders.
Yes. He said that Mr. Evett is going to buy a ranch and a lot of cattle for 10,000 pounds. Why, Mother, that's almost $50,000.
Oh, well, that boy has an extremely rich family in England if he wants to buy a ranch.
But, Mother, he's dealing with George Peshawar.
Oh. Oh. Is he the man who shot the other man?
Yes.
Oh, but the ranch deal, Cora, that's simply a business transaction. What on earth's worrying you?
Jed says the ranch isn't any good, and that most of the cattle were stolen.
Oh, dear.
We can't let Peshawar cheat Mr. Evett.
What can we do about it?
Mother, I want you to go to Mr. Earp. Ask him to investigate this.
Me? Oh, Cora.
But he'll listen to you. And then we can get Jed to tell him about Peshawar's ranch and the cattle.
Oh, no. No, that's quite impossible. It wouldn't do at all.
Well, why not?
Well, it just wouldn't, that's all. Mr. Peshawar might think we were interfering and... Well, it just isn't a matter that a lady can discuss.
All right. I'm not a lady.
Cora! Oh, I didn't bring you...
Here's the bail money for my friend. I don't know much about your American law, Mr. Earp, but I have the distinct impression that it follows most of the English statutes. Or am I in error?
Mr. Evans, you're not in error. We derive from English law.
Then any offense less than murder is bailable.
True. But killing a man in a gunfight is murder, technically.
I say now, Mr. Epp, that's not quite cricket. You heard Miss Cora admit.
Mr. Ebbett, your friend's going to stay in jail until a coroner's jury exonerates him.
Then it's obvious there's bad blood between you and Mr. Peshaw.
Look, he's a killer, a cheat, and a rustler. Or I could use more profane terms if you'd like.
I suppose you have proof of what you say.
Yeah, I caught him cheating at poker once.
Now, that's only your word.
Do you doubt my word?
Mr. Peshaw defended me at the risk of his own life. I think I should defend him. Seems to me I'm obliged, you know. Yes, I think you're a liar.
Marshal Earp, what happened?
We had a bit of a row.
Why did you pick on him? Peshaw's the one that ought to have his head knocked off.
It was a beautiful right punch. Maybe I should have called you out with revolvers.
Are you good with them?
Not too bad. I shot for England at the Bisley matches. Miss Primrose. I am sorry. I vaguely remember the scent of perfume, but I thought I was in the land of dreams.
You still are if you plan to deal with George Peshaw.
Oh? You agree with Mr. Earp?
Yes. If you'd only listen, you'd understand
I'm
why...
sorry. I'm being stubborn, I know. It's a bad habit with us British. We're loyal to our friends.
Well, I tried, Miss Cohen.
But Jed says the ranch is no good, that the cattle were rustled.
Mr. Evans should demand proof in writing. Why are you so concerned?
Well, it's nothing personal. It's just that he's a guest at the hotel, and, well, we always look after our guests.
Now, well, take my advice and forget it.
You mean just stand by and watch a visitor being cheated out of $50,000?
Miss Cora, if he goes through with the deal and finds out that he's being swindled, he can always swear out a warrant against Peshaw and sue him. Besides, there are an awful lot of Englishmen. Why don't you find yourself a smart one?
Why, Mr. Earp, you don't think I'm interested in Mr. Evans?
Yes, I do. Now, look, I told you back at the hotel to stay away and not make trouble with Peshaw. Young England is going to stick with him to the last ditch. He'll break your heart.
Good day, Mr. Earp.
We sure made a monkey out of Earp. Justifiable homicide. Even old Dr. Bink gave him what for.
I wasted the coroner's time.
Hey, I've been waiting to ask you. Where'd you get that bruise on your jaw?
Oh, a bit of a shandy-gow.
Earp, he done it?
Well, it's all over now. I suggest we forget about it.
No, we won't forget it. Hey, Deacon. Big John Law. Punching my young friend Ebbett.
You want to make that your business?
I want this young man to know that you're not a fair sample of an American. When you're not wearing your guns, you're as yellow as a buzzard's beak.
I'll take them off.
Now, leave them on. And when you and I meet, I'll be wearing mine.
You do that.
Is Mr. Earp afraid of you?
You saw the way he acted, didn't you?
Didn't seem afraid to me. Looked like he was trying to hold his temper.
Just bluff, son, bluff. When I'm wearing my guns, the man that's not afraid of me is a fool or an idiot. Now, come on. Let's go wet our whistle. Talk about that cattle spread. Well, Miss Prim.
I'll be with you in a moment, Mr. Peshar.
No hurry at all, young man.
I'd like a word with you, if I may, Miss Gill.
Why, certainly. Is something wrong with our service?
No, but there is something wrong with me.
Oh?
It's really quite important. Could we go into your parlor?
Well, just for a moment. Mother's busy in the dining room, and I have to watch the desk.
Just for a moment. I'm afraid I'm a stubborn coot.
Quite.
But you and Mr. Epp wouldn't have warned me against a man unless you had what seems to you a good reason.
No, we wouldn't.
Well, what is the reason?
Thought you had a tight hobble on that Britisher.
What do you mean?
Just straight into the parlor with Cora Gill.
He'll be running back in here for a drink to warm him up after he's talked to her for 5 minutes.
And Mr. Epp says that you should ask for proof of everything in writing. I haven't any proof.
You must think me quite a simpleton. I had no intention of buying from Mr. Peshar sight unseen.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear that.
You see, the ranch was listed with Higby and Pelham in London. They're quite reliable brokers. He sent me a complete description of the ranch with photographs.
Well, it's your money, Mr. Epp.
But I must look at the ranch, you know. I mean, in justice to Mr. Peshar.
Tell me, do you plan to take much cash with you?
I have given you a dreadful impression of stupidity. No, I carry a Bank of England drops.
You're not stupid.
Now, isn't that odd?
What?
Well, how happy I feel just to hear you say, I'm not stupid. It's quite true, you know. I've been in love with you for the last half hour at least.
Longer than that.
Really?
Excuse me, Miss Cora. Mr. Peshar wants to see Mr. Everett right away.
I'll tell him in a few minutes.
No. No, he mustn't get the idea
You're
that...
quite right. You wait right here. I've got much more to say to you.
And I've got a lot to think about.
You wanted to see me?
The paper just came out with a bad weather report for tomorrow.
Oh?
I think we'd better hit the trail, son. We can cross most of the creeks before the rains flood them.
Well, when would you want to leave?
Right away.
I'll have to go upstairs and pack my gear.
Oh, I'm sorry to rush you this way, but when it rains this time of year, that trail gets mighty bad. Earp and his fool laws.
Oh, Miss Cora, there's bad weather coming up. Mr. Peshar thinks we ought to go for the ranch right away.
No. No, please don't go with him.
Hey, what is this?
Well, Cora and I have an understanding.
What's the idea of telling him not to go with me?
You're a cheat. And a crook.
You've been listening to Wyatt Earp, huh?
Now, look, let's not have any of this.
I'll ask her. What else does Earp say?
Earp doesn't say anything. I say it.
Why, you stay out of this. I think not.
No, he'll shoot.
I struck you.
I want Earp.
Where are you going?
I left my gun in my room.
You, going after him? Why don't you let me and the boys take the shower?
You offered me the threat.
But you're too sore at him, Wyatt. You might kill him.
That's right.
No, sir.
Oh?
A lot of folks heard Peshar rawhide you. If you kill him, folks gonna say it was a grudge fight. You've been up against a lot of men as bad as Peshar, and only wounded him or buffaloed him.
Well, this is different. Why is it different?
Because Peshar really hates me. The rest of them were just drunks or killers paid to do a job. Men in a corner like Ben Thompson. I just can't risk winging Peshar.
But he'll be the first man you ever killed.
Well, there's always got to be a first.
Oh, no, you're not.
It's my job.
It's not your job. The fight's between him and Mr. Earp.
No, it's my fight.
You can't do anything with a gun. Mr. Earp's been in 100 fights. He can take care of Peshar. You let him handle this.
No. A man must shoot his own tigers.
Well, you can't love me and do this.
I love you very much. Barney, you seen Wyatt Earp?
No. Guess I reckon he's over to jail. Do you want to see him?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see him.
Keep away from me. Get out of range.
Mr. Evatt, stay out of this. I don't want you, stupid. I want Earp. No, I'm your man. I don't know the etiquette of these things, Mr. Peshar. I advise you to go for your gun. All right. I'll take both of you.
Why'd you butt in?
Well, it's my job. He's not dead, is he?
No. Where'd you aim?
Shoulder shot?
You hit him in the chest. Why don't you aim for the heart?
Well, I had to spare his life. He saved mine, you know.
All right. Take him on over to Doc Fabric's office. Give me your gun.
Oh. Of course.
There, dear, there's no need to carry on so. I told you, if we had stayed in Chicago...
Oh, if we'd stayed in Chicago and I'd married Mr. Donaldson. Stop it! Stop it!
Now, dear, if you had just listened to me... that English boy, did he get hurt?
No, ma'am.
Oh, thank heaven. There you see, Cora, now everything's going to be all right.
Oh, I begged him not to go, but he went anyway.
Mr. Evatt's a fine man. I think he saved Mr. Peshar's life twice.
Saved his life twice.
Well, he didn't kill him, and he kept me from temptation.
Well, then what did happen to Mr. Peshawar?
Well, he'll live. He got shot in the chest. Miss Cora, I told you there were an awful lot of Englishmen, but I think you ought to stop looking.
Did you put Rodney in jail? Have you no shame? A man who went out to meet a desperado. A man who might have saved your life. A man... Rodney. Oh, Rodney.
Oh, Mr. Earp, you had him up your sleeve all the time. You know, he's so much like that boy in Chicago. Why, you know, I don't mean that Mr. Donaldson, no. But there's that other boy.
Wyatt Earp, as Marshal of Wichita in 1875, had gone against hardened killers like Manon Clements and John Wesley Hardin, mature men with a lust for blood and a quick hand on the grip of a Colt 45. But there was a group of desperados, most of them 18 or 20 years old, who styled themselves Billy the Kid or the Pecos Kid or the Comanche Kid. A few of them were like young Lonnie McVeigh, known as the Kansas Kid, who found himself hounded by a reputation and driven toward death at the end of a posse's rope.
How bad is he?
Not too good.
Well, we better get him to a doctor.
Anything really new in the paper?
Well, the Times of New York City is charging corruption by Tammany Hall. The French have asked President Grant if he'd like a statue.
Of himself?
No, a Statue of Liberty. They want to give it to us because we're the first republic.
Oh, I think that's a very nice idea. How much would it cost?
No, Martha, that's not the point. The point is that if they gave us...
Lonnie!
Yeah, it's me.
Now, Martha, why have you come here?
Used to be my home, didn't it?
Lonnie, my boy, it's still your home. We've missed you so and waited.
Martha?
There's a posse after me. That's the only reason I came back.
A posse? You expect us to hide you here?
I always thought you were my father.
Oh, now, John.
We told him last time he mustn't ever come back.
Oh,
You agreed to it?
I know, but why did you come here? Why is the law after you?
There's something I didn't do.
You see, John.
No. He's a stage robber and a murderer. Get out.
Not right now.
Please, John.
He can't expect us to hide the Kansas kid from the law.
Shut up. I'll hide myself. I don't want you to do anything but shut up. Ain't asking you. I'm telling you.
Lonnie, not your own father.
You practically threw me out. Ignored me when I was a kid. I don't owe you a thing. As far as I'm concerned, you're just any stranger. And this is just any house.
You can't hide here.
Who's stopping me?
Plain common sense ought to stop you. That posse will report to Marshal Earp. This is the first place he'll search.
He nor any other marshal don't know my real name.
And you're not going to tell on him, John. You can't. He's our son.
He won't tell on me. He knows what he'll get if he does. Turned my horse loose and made it here on foot. I'm dead beat. I'm going upstairs. The least you can do is give me a bed for the night. Considering you haven't much choice.
Now, Martha, we agreed
Lonnie,
that...
what are they after you for?
They say I killed a man. They aim to hang me.
Marshal Earp, this is Sheriff Osborne from Kingman County.
Howdy. Mr. Earp, these are my two deputies, Larson, Jones. Glad to know you. A long way from home.
Yeah. They chased the Kansas kid into town, but he got away.
Oh, how? The kid shot Danny Ober just as we were overtaking him outside the city limits. We had to stop, take care of him. He's over at the docks now.
Doc Fabrique's a good man.
Seemed to know his business. Sit down, gentlemen.
How do you think the kid's holed up in Wichita, huh?
Oh, he has to be. Rode in here not more than half an hour ago.
What's he wanted for besides wounding one of your deputies?
Well, he killed a Wells Fargo guard in a stage holdup outside of Kingman City. I'm having some of these printed up.
The Kansas kid. There are a dozen kids, this and that. What's his real name?
Nobody knows. Works out of the brush country.
Never comes into town, huh?
If he has, he's sure got sense enough not to brag on who he is.
But you men can identify him?
We got close enough for that. He's slender, brown hair, brown eyes, good-looking kid.
Marshal Earp, we picked up a stray horse that was wanted on Cross Street off Douglas Avenue. I got him outside.
That could be the kid's horse.
Let's take a look.
This is the one right here.
Mr. Blaze, 3 white stockings. Belongs to the kid, all right.
Looks like he was traveling light. A long ride. Looks like an old saddle, too. About 8 or 9 years, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
And this saddle maker's mark might give us a lead. Looks like old man Gentry's.
Here in Wichita?
Yeah. We'll take the horse on down to his shop. You and your men might as well get some rest and something to eat.
Any objection to my going along with you, Mr. Earp?
Well, happens there is. Old man Gentry may not want to talk in front of strangers.
Okay, you're the law in Wichita, so long as we get the
Kid. If he's here, you get him. Come on, boy.
Who is it?
Your mother.
Where's the old man? Did he go to turn me in?
I don't know.
I was born in this house. I might as well die here.
If you're innocent, as you say, you should give yourself up.
Stand trial, I suppose.
Yes.
They've tagged me with enough jobs to hang me 9 times.
We know Marshal Earp. He's a decent young man. He goes to our church.
Awful fast with a gun, I hear.
He'd treat you fairly.
I'm good with a gun, too.
Guns. That's how it started. You were smaller than the boys your age. You thought you'd be even up with guns.
I evened up.
Your father would have stood by you. The morning you ran away, he'd gone to hire a lawyer. What have you done now? What have you brought to us?
The old man's walking around in the yard. Guess he can't make up his mind to turn me in.
I want you to make up your own mind. Go to Marshal Earp and tell him you're this Kansas kid.
Too late, Mom.
It's never too late to...
To go to prison? I could take that for stage robbery. But you don't know what it's like to have a reputation like mine. They accused me of holdups I was miles away from, of shooting men I never saw in my life. Every crime that's unsolved, I did it. I'm the Kansas kid.
And proud of it.
Not anymore.
Then go to Marshal Earp. Tell him what you've just told me.
Mom, I never could talk to Papa. But I used to be able to tell you things.
Tell me now, Lonnie.
All right. You ever hear of lynching?
Yes.
Earp would hand me over to that posse. They'd hang me on the trail.
That your saddle, Mr. Gentry?
Yeah, I made it.
You remember who bought it?
Forget.
You keep a record of all your sales, don't you?
No.
Look, Mr. Gentry, Wichita is a small town. The boy that rode that can't hide here for very long. Now, if you know who it is, the kindest thing you can do is to tell me.
How do you figure that?
Some men from Kingman County are after him. I can vouch for me and my deputies, but the other crowd spots him first. I can't vouch for them. Your memory improving?
You wouldn't want me to remember, Wyatt.
Some friends of mine involved?
Good, decent people.
Now, withholding information like this may lead to the arrest of an outlaw. You know what that means?
Jail? You wouldn't go that far.
Yes, I would if I had to. Come on, you might as well tell me. I'm going to find out anyway.
Okay, Wyatt. I tried to protect a good family. John McVeigh bought it from me.
John McVeigh? I'm looking for a kid that's 18 or 19 years of age. Does he have any children?
He had a son, if you must know.
I almost wish I didn't have to know.
He's their sorrow, Wyatt. Make it as easy on them as you can.
Yeah. I'll be back for that later.
Oh, hello, Wyatt. Come in.
Evening, John.
Won't you sit down?
Oh, thanks. Is your son at home?
Wyatt.
Look, I know you want to lie to me. I couldn't blame you much if you did.
He said he didn't kill the Wells Fargo guard.
Well, maybe he didn't.
I'm not trying to make excuses for him. People blamed his mother and me. They always blame the parents when a boy goes wrong. Well, they shouldn't blame his mother. I'm the one, I guess. Always on the go. Ohio to Illinois, Illinois to Kentucky and then out here, scratching for a living. And forgetting, I guess, that my boy needed a little of me. And every time he needed me, Wyatt, I wasn't around. Ain't much feeling between us, I guess, and heavens knows there ought to be. I still don't know the whole answer between him and me, but Wyatt, save him for us if you can.
I'll do what I can, John. Now I have to arrest him. Where is he?
Oh, not alone, Wyatt. He's got 2 45s. Give Mrs. McVeigh a little time. Perhaps she can talk him into...
All right, Marshal Earp. Come and get me.
No, Lonnie. He's our friend.
No friend of mine.
I'm sorry.
Take it careful, Earp.
Don't shoot him. Aim at me. Finish what you've started, Lonnie.
Mom, that was a crazy thing to do. I might have pulled the trigger accidental. Not so smart of you, Mr. Earp. Why didn't you jerk your guns before you came in?
Well, this is your home, Lonnie. I didn't think you'd want to do any shooting in here.
My home? Sure. Ask him.
I want a fair trial for my son.
You promised that, Wyatt.
Of course. Come on, Lonnie. Before I turn you over to the posse, you and I will have a long talk. Come on.
Bye, Mom.
You deny you took any part in the Wells Fargo robbery near Kingman City, huh?
Yes.
All right, I used to work for Wells Fargo. Think I better get a telegram off to Ed Beatty in Topeka. He's their special agent for Kansas.
What good will that do? You have to turn me over to the Kingman County officers anyway.
Not tonight, I don't.
Well, give me the rope as soon as you do.
You think they're gonna lynch you? What makes you so sure of that?
I know Osborne.
Look, you wounded one of his men. He's pretty sore about it, and he's got a right to be, but that doesn't make him a lyncher.
Have it your way.
I want you to give me an honest answer to one question. Did you ever kill a man?
No. I shot up several, but I never killed anybody.
All right.
What difference does it make?
Makes the difference between a sentence for armed robbery and the rope. That's quite a big difference to your folks.
They don't care.
They care very much, more than you deserve.
Oh, sure.
Don't you play tough with me. First time you get into real trouble, you run for home. What'd you expect to find? Strangers, a mother and father that hate you?
I don't know.
You found your parents. Good people that love you in spite of everything you've done. If I didn't think you were sorry for the pain you caused them, I wouldn't even waste the cost for a telegram. Ollie! You put this prisoner in a cell by himself. I'm not going to book him yet, and I don't want any word going around town about it. You understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go down to the Eagle office and send a telegram by press wire. I'll be back in 10 minutes. As soon as I hear from Wells Fargo, I'll get word to your folks. Otherwise, I won't be sleeping tonight.
Well, we better get back to the jail. See if Earp has tracked down that saddle mark.
I don't trust that Earp fella, Charlie. Why didn't he take you along?
It's his town.
Hey, you the lawman from Kingman City that's after the Kansas kid?
Yeah, you seen him?
No, but Marshal Earp sneaked a young fella into jail. Maybe he's pulling a fast one.
Oh?
I got a good look at the kid.
Slender, brown hair, brown eyes?
Yeah, that's him.
You just bought yourself a drink.
Well, thanks.
Sit down, boys. We don't want any trouble with Earp. He's against lynching.
Oh? You aim to swing the kid?
Just as quick as we get him away from Earp and out of town. But we're gonna have to play it smart.
You're sure Wyatt won't turn him over to the posse? John!
Well, of course he won't. Not till he hears from Wells Fargo.
Is there some legal trick they could work?
No, Martha. They're officers of the law. Why should they want to work some trick?
Because I'm going over to that jail.
Now get hold of yourself. Wyatt'll think we don't trust him.
I trust Wyatt, but not those Kingman County men. Lonnie told me something.
What?
There won't be a fair trial. Lonnie says they'll lynch him.
This cowhand was... What's a big conference?
Wyatt, there's some wild talk I think you ought to know about.
What's that?
Cowhand in the Texas bar is telling it that the new prisoner's the Kansas Kid.
You can't keep a cowhand from talking.
Yeah, but Marshal...
Here you made an arrest. Fellow told me he recognized the prisoner as a boy who used to live around here.
That's right, Mr. Osborne. Name of Lonnie McVeigh.
Well, I guess I ought to take a look at him.
Sit down for a second. Lonnie admits to being the Kansas Kid.
Say, fast work, Marshal.
Yeah, but he denies pulling the Wells Fargo job.
Sure. Denying it, what's he got to lose? You believe him?
This wire just came from Ed Beatty. He's a special agent for Wells Fargo in Kansas. I wired him asking if he was positive the kid pulled the job.
Uh-huh. Well, all he says here is that his men on the case have some doubt.
Yeah, well, I know Ed Beatty. He'll check with the Pinkertons.
You know, there's one point we both forget.
What's that?
McVeigh claims to be the Kansas Kid. But is he?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, maybe I ought to take a look at him anyway, just to make sure.
All right. I kind of hope he is bragging. Stand up, Lonnie. Oh?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Turn around, son.
You know me, Osborne.
I never saw the kid in good light close up. Tell him to turn around.
Look, he's got to identify you. It's important.
All right.
Well, I sure couldn't swear to it. Maybe you ought to have my boys in here to take a look at him.
They get a better look at the kid?
Well, Larson did. You know, it'd be a long haul back to Kingman with the wrong man.
I thought you were going to telegraph Wells Fargo.
I did. They're checking with the Pinkertons. Are you still claiming you're the Kansas Kid?
Osborne knows I am. This is just some kind of a trick.
Maybe you're the tricky one. If my boys aren't any more certain than I am, we're wasting time.
Well, it's just common sense to have them identified. For your sake, I got to be positive. Go get your boys.
Mrs. McVeigh is here. I asked her to wait in there.
I think so. Yeah, it's very smart thinking.
I want to make the rounds.
Right. See you later.
You bet.
Come in, Mrs. McVeigh. Sorry to keep you waiting.
That's quite all right.
Won't you please sit down?
Thank you. You're not going to let them take him away.
No. As a matter of fact, Mr. Osborne's not too sure that Lonnie is the Kansas Kid.
Not sure. He might be bragging.
Well, see, Lonnie thinks that Mr. Osborne's up to some kind of a trick. But he's wrong. You see...
Earp doesn't suspect a thing. There's only him and the two deputies. He thinks we're coming in to identify McVeigh. Now play it easy and casual till I give the word.
Whether Lonnie's telling the truth or not, Mr. Osborne doesn't act like a hothead or a rope slinger to me. But anyway, I'm not going to release the boy to Mr. Osborne until I hear from Wells Fargo.
Oh, God bless you for that. His father and I are so grateful.
Wyatt, Osborne and his deputies are headed up this way now.
Oh, good. Oh, Mrs. McVeigh, would you mind waiting in the other room a moment? I'll be right with you.
Here they are.
I got a hunch it's just a fool kid trying to build himself into a desperate character.
Could be. Well, let's take a look at it.
Hold it.
Looks like I guessed wrong.
Yeah. Bring him in here. Go ahead. Get the keys. Get them.
Go on, Ollie. You're not going to make this work, Osborne.
It's working. Lock him up.
I told told you about him.
Save your breath, kid. You're going to be needing it. Well, hurry up. Don't be all day larceny. Come out of there, kid.
What are you going to do with me?
You know what we're going to do with you.
Hey, let go of me. Let me go.
Lonnie, what are they doing?
They're going to hang me.
Stop it! Turn it loose! Stop it! Stop!
Mrs. McVeigh, come in here.
What? Why have they taken him?
Never mind that. Just get the other set of keys. They're in my desk, right-hand drawer.
But why have
Just
they...
get the keys.
The Kansas kid?
Yeah, they're all alike, screaming his head off. Your marshal caught him. We're taking him back to Kingman City.
Where is Marshal Earp?
Oh, he's taking care of a brawl in some saloon.
You hear which saloon?
No.
I better go check.
The keys, I can't get it open!
The keys? What are you doing, Mrs. McVeigh?
They've locked Marshal Earp in there and they've taken my boy and I can't find the keys!
Hurry up.
Hurry, please!
Mrs. McVeigh, you go home and stay there. Paul, grab a shotgun.
Right.
There's a good tree over there. Let's get this job done before Earp butts in. Larson, be sure that's tied off good. What's the matter with you, Jones? Let me have that thing. You don't know how to do anything. I never saw such a guy. All you gotta do is get in the right place.
Look out, manager!
What?
Get me down!
Let's go.
I hate to let you down, Mr. Osmond.
Mr. Earp, we weren't intending to hang the... Oh!
Don't worry too much, Mrs. McVeigh. With the Pinkertons clearing him of the murder charge, all he has to face is a charge for robbery.
That's easy medicine, Mom. I can take that. Dad? Good luck, son.
As the gypsies have roamed alien lands through the ages, so they ventured early to our western frontier. For the West was horse country, and the gypsies were horse traders, and sometimes horse thieves. The day came when Wyatt Earp had to decide which.
I don't come all the way to town unless it's important. You know that, Bud.
Another good horse disappeared last night. It belonged to George Irons here. Tell him what happened, George.
I sent the horse into town after supper with my wrangler, Casey. He stopped to light a cigar, and a man wearing a mask clubbed him.
Mm-hmm. When I come to, the horse was gone.
That's the 7th good animal that's been stole this fall. Now, George and I called you men together to decide what we're going to do about it.
Well, what about the law, Bud? We're paying this Marshal Earp pretty good.
This marshal ain't located one of your stolen horses.
When there wasn't any law at all in this country, we knew how to handle horse thieving.
And I'm one who ain't forgotten.
Do you have any idea who's responsible?
Sure. Casey found this at the West Fork last night.
That's the mask of Rustler War.
It's a cheap bandana dyed black. I dipped it in some boiling water and soaked some of the dye off. Here, take a look at it.
Purple and green around the edges.
Now, where have you seen folks wearing purple and green around here?
Well, gypsy women out at Cassin's camp.
Seems like we ought to go out to Cassin's camp and have a look around, don't it?
If George Irons' horse is out there,
We might just knock this around some gypsy's neck.
That ought to take care of horse rustling around Wichita for a while. That was our idea in calling these men together, wasn't it, George?
That was our idea.
All right. Let's go out the corral and get our horses.
Morning, Mr. Irons. Mr. Creel. Morning, boys.
Morning, Marshal.
You riding out somewhere?
Is that any of your business, Herb?
I hope it isn't.
Well, it ain't, so get off my corral gate.
Now, look, I know where you're headed and why you're headed there. I'm going to ask you to cool off and think it over.
You aiming to stop us?
Yep.
You hired out to handle horse thieving, among other things around Wichita. You haven't done it.
So?
So, maybe we can handle it better.
Like stringing up a gypsy?
Yeah. If he's the one that slugged Casey and stole George Irons' horse last night.
Well, that'd be murder, Mr. Creel, the way you're going to go about it.
Even if we can prove he stole my horse?
Well, you prove it to me, and I'll put him in jail. Then you got to prove it to the judge. That's the law.
And this is my corral, and we're coming in to get our horses.
I shouldn't wonder you could do it. There's enough of you. But how many will there be when you get on the other side of this gate?
You can't bluff me, Herb.
Well, I'm not trying to bluff you, Mr. Creel. I'm just asking you to stop and think whether any horse you ever rode is worth a hole in your shirt. Or one in yours, Mr. Irons. Your family can get along a lot better without that horse than it can without you.
Are we going to let him buffalo us?
Mr. Casey, you want to be the first one through the gate?
I ain't going to let no young squirt back me down. Put up that gun. Give me an even draw.
All right. Go ahead. Take him over to Dr. Brick's office. I'm going to ride out to the gypsy camp, see if they got any strange horses in their string.
All right, Marshal. We'll try it your way. Just once more.
I advise you to get rid of those guns. They're a heavy drag on the ribs.
Guess off.
Hello, Marshal.
Morning, Hassan. Anna.
Good morning, Mr. Earp. Would you like some coffee?
Didn't come for coffee, thanks. I'd like to talk. It's not very much like the old buffalo hunting days, is it?
Not much.
You see, married life kind of settles a man.
Did you come here to talk to me about married life?
No. As a matter of fact, I'm in a little trouble.
I hope I can help you, as you have often helped me.
I think you can.
How?
Well, by answering some questions. Another horse was stolen last night. Right in the edge of town.
I know. A roan off of George Irons' ranch.
How do you know about it?
We have ways of knowing things. There is no roan horse on this ranch. You can look around if you like.
No, I've already looked. Hassan, what do you know about these wagon families living on your land?
You know I don't discuss the affairs of my people.
No, they're not really your people. Now, since you married a wife from Ohio and homesteaded this land, you haven't been riding with the wagons.
I respect the customs.
Well, we've got an old custom in this part of the country for horse stealing called hanging. I don't respect it. But if the rustling keeps up, I don't know what I can do about it.
We did not steal that horse last night.
What about the other 6 horses that disappeared lately?
No.
You give me your word as a friend or a gypsy?
A friend.
All right. But the ranchers think differently. They found this mask on the West Fork Road last night near where the horse was stolen.
Gypsies don't need masks to steal horses. That proves we did not do it.
It's an old trick, Marshal. Someone trying to throw suspicion on us.
Suspicion in my eye. They can use this as evidence against you. Well, you'd have had a gang of visitors carrying guns and ropes if I hadn't stopped them.
In a gypsy camp, every gun in every wagon is loaded.
Hassan, whether you're my friend or not, you don't want to pitch battle against the ranchers. They'd kill half your people.
I thank you for preventing it.
Look, will you help me find out what's happening to these horses?
No, I don't dare.
Well, I'll back you up. I'll make you my special deputy.
Don't you understand? The law is an enemy that hounded the gypsies in every land. I cannot work with the law. It is forbidden.
You mean your own people would dry gulch you? Take your choice.
Here he comes.
All right, Marshal, did you turn up my horse?
Casson said he didn't steal any horses.
We know all about you and Casson, Herb.
He's an honest man.
You back the gypsies and we go on losing horses. Is that it?
No. But since we don't know where to go to find the rustlers, maybe we can bring the rustlers to us. Try staking out a couple of good animals.
Decoys, eh?
That's right. Close by town where I can keep my eye on them.
Might work.
Nothing else has. Mr. Irons, will you lend me a couple of your horses for the job?
Why two and why mine?
Because you raise the best stock in Kansas and because we got to stake out something the rustlers can't resist stealing.
And the marshal's office is going to be watching them?
Yep.
Then you better use somebody else's horses.
Hold it.
I don't think you meant that, did you? I don't think you meant that I'm in on any deal that might lose you your horses.
I don't recall saying you were in on it, Herb. But I do know valuable stock's been disappearing, right under your nose.
Make you feel any better if I appoint you special deputy for the job?
I've got a ranch to run, Herb.
What about your wrangler, Casey? He's been with you for over 9 years. You ought to trust him.
Casey, you heard the marshal's proposition. Want to work with him a couple of days?
Sure, why not? Make it a crack at whoever slugged me.
All right. Now, it's to your men's interest to keep this quiet. So keep it among yourselves.
All right.
See anything on the road in?
Yeah, jackrabbits.
Yeah, nothing moving around here.
That's where he was, Wyatt. Hiding under that bridge. The man in the mask that slugged me.
I've been staked out here since about dark, waiting for him.
They're playing this one close to the vest.
Casey, you go turn your horses loose in that field over there.
Yeah, I know. Irons told me.
Got anything to eat?
Nope.
Well, I'll bring you some dinner.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Bud Creel. Come on in.
Any sign of him?
Nope.
The Dutchman wants you in town, Herb. Some cowhands are getting glued in this place.
You want to watch with Casey?
I don't need nobody.
I'll watch till my night stage goes out, just after midnight.
I'll be by later, Casey.
Casey?
He's dead.
They got your horses, too, George.
And where's that marshal?
Forget the marshal. Let's trail those horses. How'd you mark their shoes?
We didn't. Casey took their shoes off, so whoever stole them couldn't ride off fast.
It'll be easy to track them barefoot. Come on. Look at those tracks. They had them tied out here.
Look at these. Lead right into Casson's camp. But there he is, the roan.
Right out in the open. Why, those gypsies... Take it easy, George. There's a dozen guns in that camp. Hadn't we better go back to town and raise some riders?
You can do anything you like, but that's my roan horse. Him and me go back to town together. Get out of here.
Don't go near that horse.
We'll have trouble. You two go on back to town.
What are you doing here?
Earning my wages. I found Casey dead about an hour ago. Tracked your horse to Casson's waterhole.
The horse was brought dead before dawn by someone trying to make it appear that we had stolen it.
I wouldn't talk too much, Casson. What you say can be used against you.
Or against you, Herb.
Yeah. What about George's other horse, Marshal?
I wouldn't know about that. But right now, if I were you two, I wouldn't pick a private fight. Take a good look around you.
Do they think they can take my horse? Hold it!
They think Casson's being framed by the law. Casson, tell your people that I'm not going to frame you, that I'm your friend.
And tell them if they gun us, half of Wichita will be out here on a run.
Or shoot them like sheep. Burn their wagons.
Shut up, Creel.
Casson, tell your people that you're going into town as my prisoner because I promised you justice. Tell them they've got to back my play. Because with that horse being found in your camp, if you don't go in town with me, I can't keep you from a lynching.
Vayate con los pados. Váyanos las pistolas. Grigora!
All right, you two go on into town. We'll be right behind you. Get your things. Casson, trust me, it's the only way.
Who is it?
Annie Casson.
All right. Sit down. Took a big chance coming here tonight. Gypsies aren't too popular.
I thought the town was asleep.
Town's not going to be sleeping on this one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I can't let you see Casson.
Oh, I understand. I had to bring him a supper. He'll only eat gypsy food.
Yeah, I know. I told him if he'd just starved to death, it might save us a lot of trouble.
Why, this isn't a joke, Mr. Earp. I came here for something else. I had to warn you.
About what?
Some of the ranchers are planning to break into jail and take Casson.
You know that? How?
I can't tell you.
How can I believe you?
When a gypsy woman reads the ranch-wise fortunes, she learns a lot more than she tells. You've got to stop them, Mr. Earp. On my word, the gypsies didn't steal those horses. Casson is innocent.
You're his wife, you'd say that.
It's true. You know he's not a horse thief. You're his friend. You can't let them hang him.
Now, look, Anna, there's only one of me. There'll be 100 of those jug-crazy cowhands. If they start here, I don't know if I can stop them.
The rancher's wife said it might be tonight.
The necktie party? I better sleep here in the jail, then.
Why, you'd give your life for him, wouldn't you, Mr. Earp?
Look, Anna, if you want to save your husband, you better get your people to try and find out who stole those horses.
We'll try to find out.
And tell them this much for me. They're not doing the law a favor. Casson's their blood. It's him they're helping. You better go on home. Take the alley. I think you'll be all right. I can't go with you.
Thank you, Mr. Earp.
Good night, Anna.
Why? Things are kind of piling up on you.
Uh-huh. They're really piling up.
They say they'll force your resignation if Casson doesn't hang or if one more horse is stolen.
Yeah, well, one more horse has been stolen.
What?
Roan belonging to George Irons, the evidence against Casson.
But that horse was in your custody, locked in your stable.
I know it. Last night while I was on guard duty, somebody pried the steel bar off the stable and the roan's gone.
Where were your deputies?
I only had 2 of them yesterday.
Well, listen, I'll serve White if you want to swear me in.
No. 1 gun more or less would make any difference if they come for Casson tonight.
You think they'll try?
Yeah. First, they'll be here sometime this afternoon asking for my resignation. Not being able to stop somebody from stealing a horse that was placed in my custody, and I can't say I blame them.
Well, I can.
All they know is that they were brought up believing that the only way to stop horse stealing was to hang some man. They're breaking windows, trying to decoy me outside. Don't worry, I won't leave the jail. Town can pick up glass off the streets, but not blood. Get away from that window.
Open up!
Who's there?
It's me, Murdoch. You wanted over at Doc for Breeks.
You know I can't leave here.
It's Casson's wife. She's hurt. Some drunken cowhand turned over a wagon. She said she's got to talk to you.
You stay here. Lock the door behind me.
He's leaving the jail. Keep your eyes on him. I'll report to Bud Creel.
Go around the back.
Your men are getting liquored up all over town. We can't hold them much longer, Earp or no Earp.
Bud, Earp just left the jail.
Which way's he heading?
Well, I don't know, but they're watching him on every corner.
All your men are waiting for is a signal. Let's give it to them.
Marshal went into Doc Fabrik's office and came right out. He's walking down the street and headed this way.
Well, boys, I believe Earp's come to his senses, coming down here to make a deal. Jenks, if he steps inside, bolt the door behind him. I'll go out back and lock my stable door. Then we'll have him boxed while the hands go to work on the jail.
Welcome committee, huh? Every man that lost a horse. Well, that's good. Except Bud Creel, where's he?
Just back in the stable. He'll be right in.
Maybe I better talk to him then. Alone. I'd stay out of it if I were you.
Well, Mr. Earp, so you're quitting on your gypsy partner.
No, not just yet.
What'd you come down here for? Resign or make a deal?
I came down here to get George Irons' horse.
You mean the one someone stole right out of your own stable last night?
You stole that horse, Mr. Creel.
Me?
That's right, you. Only you hadn't had time to run him out of town yet.
He's accusing me of rustling those horses.
That's right. You hid him out here in this stable until your night stage left. Then your drivers ran him south. That's how all your stock has been disappearing, gentlemen. right down the open trail on Mr. Creel's stage run. At night and under harness, where nobody'd ever think to look for a stolen horse.
You got no proof of that, Herb.
I guess you'll be surprised to know I got it from the gypsies.
From the gypsies?
That's right. Last night they spotted your 2 stolen horses at Creel's first relay station south. I just got the word.
And you take the word of a lying gypsy?
That's no proof.
Proof's right under our nose. Only we couldn't see it.
Somebody get his gun.
There's your roan, Mr. Irons. He killed Casey, then he sent those 2 horses of yours out of town, pulling the night stage. Then he planted the roan horse at the gypsy camp where we found it. His game was going so good, he got a little greedy last night. He had to steal it back from me.
And he was holding it in this blind stall for his late stage run tonight.
That's right. Figured tonight'd be an easy one, with the whole town busy hanging a gypsy. So you men, give me a hand. We'll take him over to Doc Fabrique's.
And the jail, Mr. Creel.
Get in.
What's happened?
Got a more important customer. Got to turn you out.
You are not quitting on me, are you, Marshal? What about that mob outside?
Anna cleared your cousin. She's waiting inside. Go on, get in there.
Yeah. What about that mob outside, Herb? They're liquored up and they're carrying a rope.
You ought to know. You gave it to them. Yeah, listen. They're sure hankering for a horse thief.
You're not going to let him come in and get me, are you, Herb?
No. That'd still be murder, Mr. Creel.
What are you going to do?
Guess I'll just have to sleep another night in jail. Good night. Nothing on him to identify him. Paul, his horse must be out there. Go check the saddlebags, will you?
All right.
You got one shot in the small of the back from the rear, one shot through the wishbone from the front. You say you had this gun pointed at you when you swung around from the cash box and fired.
That's right, Wyatt.
Isn't that kind of a risky thing to do? I mean, firing into another man's gun?
Impulse, I guess. Just flashed through my mind. I saw the gun lying in the cash box, and I thought I could surprise him. I did.
You swung around and fired. It's pretty good shooting for anybody, much less a bookkeeper.
Most men know how to shoot.
Well, you're either an expert or you're pretty lucky.
You're questioning me like you don't believe me.
No, not at all, Harry. I'm just marveling. In my business, marvels never cease. Bookkeeper fires 2 shots, both shots hit the mark. How come you put the second shot in the back?
The first one must have spun him around. I thought I missed him. I thought he turned to run, and so I let go a second one. I didn't know until I looked at him that I'd hit him the first time and must have spun him.
Well, the horse out there belongs to him, Wyatt. Every one of them's got an owner. None of the owners is him.
That just doesn't make sense. A man's gonna try and pull a robbery without a getaway horse. Yeah, maybe he was working with somebody. Take another look. Look for a lone rider with a spare horse.
Why don't we stop being policemen, Wyatt, and give Harry credit for a good job well done? By nightfall, he'll be a public hero. Drop in the Texas house. I'll stand treat myself.
Thanks.
Well, maybe Paul's right. Harry, let me be the first to congratulate you.
Thanks, Wyatt.
I'll take a look at the wanted posters tonight. Maybe there's a reward for you. I'll let you stay here. I'll get Doc Fabrique to come over and make a coroner's report.
Right. Wyatt, I located the horse.
Uh-huh.
Black's Corral. I wasn't even thinking of asking Black, just telling him about the robbery. It's when I told him what the dead man looked like.
You identify him?
This time I'm ahead of you. Dead man's name was Luke Miller. Horse's brand was Double B. That's a Texas outfit camped in the creek. You know, doesn't seem much like a robber, does he?
If you're mixed up now, take a look at this. This'll really confuse you.
It's Harry Drew with a mustache.
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't catch the resemblance, at least not so quick.
Harry Dolan. Remember the Jesse James gang? Wanted in Kansas City for robbery and murder. You suspected him?
No. I was looking for the dead man. Instead, I find the hero who shot him. I'll look through this old file once in a month of Sundays. Why'd I have to be such a bird dog this one time?
Yeah, know how you feel. Seems like such a likable fella. Nice, hard-working, likable fella.
Well, it's more than that. Ollie was talking to Harry while Doc was making out his coroner's report, and he told Ollie that his wife's coming in on tomorrow morning stage.
Ooh, rough. Tell you what, Wyatt, I'll toss you for who has to pick him up.
I can wait. Right now, I want to get a wire off to Kansas City. Get some more information on Harry. I'll take a ride out to the creek first thing in the morning. Have a talk with the dead man's outfit. By the time I get back, we ought to have some word from Kansas City police. I hope you have a quiet night. I hope
Night,
so.
Wyatt.
None of us ever did get to know Luke Miller very well. Now he's dead, huh?
Yep.
Well, he was sort of a sour cuss. He liked his own company better than ours.
You ever hear much about his past?
Well, he wasn't the kind of fellow you'd ask about his past. Saw him shoot the head off a rattler from horseback once. Well, none of us thought we'd like to argue with him.
Think he might have been the gunman on the Dodge?
Oh, I don't know. Could be. Wouldn't be the first time an outlaw hid himself in a cow outfit. Sure, I'd heard talk he'd been with the Jesse James gang, but... Oh, well, you know how cowpokes talk.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mr. Murray. See you around.
Anything new?
Yeah, your answer came from Kansas City.
Huh?
They want him.
Oh, by the way, the westbound stage come through yet?
No, it's running late. You pick up anything at the cow camp?
Oh, just westback talk. It's a funny thing, though. The idea's got around the outfit that the dead man...
Luke Miller?
Yeah, used to ride with the Jesse James gang.
Him, too? That sure is funny. What do you make of it?
I don't intend to make anything of it. Kansas City's got the first call on Harry. As far as we're concerned here, he's a paid-up hero. Look, why don't you put a couple of clean blankets in cell 2? Harry might as well be comfortable until he leaves us. Huh?
All right.
Come in. Oh, morning, Wyatt.
Morning, Harry.
You'll excuse me if I have to hurry. Got to meet my wife. What a celebration we had last night. By the way, I don't remember seeing you there.
Well, I was working.
What brings you out so early this morning? More questions?
Kansas City just answered my telegram. The charge is still active.
Just when I send for my wife. Just when I think I'm safe.
How long will you get in Kansas City?
30 years. Me and another prisoner broke loose on the way to the pen.
That wasn't any robber you killed yesterday, was it?
Listen, Wyatt. My wife didn't know anything bad about me until I was caught and tried. She lived on the farm next to me in Missouri when we were kids. And even after I was caught and tried, it didn't make any difference to her. She would have waited for me. 30 years. No woman's gonna wait 30 years. I had to be free.
Look, Harry, it's not going to do you any good to tell me all that.
I was too young to get in the war. But I was there when Jesse and Frank James came riding home. I listened to Frank talk one night. He told about how the banks and the railroads were running it over us, and it seemed right to fight it. At the time, it seemed right.
Harry, there's nothing I can do.
Oh, look, Wyatt, you've known me all these months. I've been living honestly, just waiting for this chance to bring Ann out here. Put an end to all this grief and misery. Let me show... Not taking any chances, are you, Marshal?
I'm sorry. Force of habit. You were going to show me something.
Forget it. Come on, let's go.
Hold it.
All that talk frighten you, Marshal?
No, just the part about your wife.
I apologize for that.
She's going to have to be told.
Shouldn't be hard for a man like you.
Well, I was thinking it might be easier on her if you met the coach, brought her up here, and told her yourself. All right, I admit it. It'll be easier on me, too.
You'd let me bring her up here?
Don't worry, my deputies and I will be watching the front and rear. I'll give you to sundown. Say what you have to say.
Thanks. Oh, what I wanted to show you was my bank book. Honest money, honestly saved.
Yeah, I know, Harry. Come on.
Good looking, isn't she?
What'd you expect?
Oh, White, you're kind of hard to figure. Giving a fella like...
Never mind. Keep an eye on the hotel.
Isn't it almost time for dinner, Harry? I'm starved.
Almost sundown.
What's wrong, darling? You've been trying so hard to be cheerful all afternoon.
Ann caught up with me.
They found out? Here? How, Harry? How?
Luke showed 2 days ago.
Luke Miller? Well, that shouldn't have... You escaped together. Why should he...
He followed me. Found out I was working for wages, living decently. He wanted $5,000 or he turned me in.
What did you do?
I killed him.
Oh, Harry.
See, Ann, can't get away from it.
Don't talk like that.
The law's outside waiting to take me.
Why, Harry? Why did you have to kill him? Why didn't you give him the money? He would have gone away.
The crazy part about it is they don't want me for the killing of Luke. I made it look like I shot him as a common robber. As a matter of fact, the townsfolk are celebrating me as a hero. What the marshal wants me for is Kansas City. They dug up an old poster of me, yellowed and dusty with age.
You shouldn't have run away, Harry. I told you you should have stayed and made it up, whatever you had coming. You can't live like this, killing to stay free.
Man, please don't talk like
But
that.
what'll you do? You can't keep on running. Do you want me to live like Jesse James' wife? You told me yourself how it was with her. Always waiting and dreading. Smiling and lying to her children. Must it be like that for us, Harry?
I'm afraid so. Either that way or not at all. I don't ever intend to go back to Kansas City.
How are you, Paul?
Okay. You want to get those affidavits on the noon coach, better hurry. You got it when you're loaded.
I'm finished.
Might as well tell you, Wyatt, there's some nasty talk going around town.
Usually is.
People don't like to be fooled. They don't like to spend money buying drinks for a public hero one day and next day's in jail.
What's Harry supposed to do? Give him the money back?
Oh, it's not Harry they're mad at. It's you. So be careful when you make the rounds.
You know, Paul, one of these days the sun's going to rise on Wichita and there's not going to be a single citizen mad at me. That's the day I turn in my badge. Eddie, did you get this in the mailbag for me?
Could I help you, miss?
I'd like a revolver.
A revolver, miss?
Yes, please.
Any particular make or caliber?
I don't know, that one. That's a nice-looking one, isn't it?
Well, I'd never thought of it as nice looking. Tell me, miss, is this a gift for a male friend or relative, perhaps?
Yes.
Well, it's kind of unusual. You see, most men prefer to select their... Well, would you know the purpose? Is it to be used for hunting or as a sidearm?
Please, sir. If you want to know, the gun is for me. I'm going west with my husband, and I've heard stories about the Indians. I didn't want to alarm him, so...
I understand, miss.
I'll take that one, if you don't mind.
The 38. Yes, ma'am.
And cartridges to go with it.
It ain't much good without cartridges. I'll put it in a nice box for you, too.
Yes, sir.
I'm Marshal Earp. May I come in? I don't often visit the wives of the men I arrest.
What is it you want?
You know, you don't look like the kind of a woman who...
Who'd be married to Harry Dolan? Outlaw? He's your prisoner. What difference does it make to you what I am or look like?
I just don't want to see you get hurt. I don't think Harry does either.
I couldn't be any more hurt than I am already. I don't understand you.
Look, why don't you just go home? It'll make it easier all around.
You needn't worry, Marshal. You won't have an hysterical woman on your hands. I'll be leaving.
Thank you. Good day, Mrs. Drew.
May I see him this evening?
Certainly.
I don't know anything about these things, sir, but if I could pay you enough money, it's been done. I'm not that innocent. Harry meant to go honest, Marshal. We were going west to California. He had saved some money. Nobody would have known about him. Isn't there anything I could possibly do?
What about the man your husband killed? What about Luke Miller?
Oh, surely, Marshal, you can't call that a crime. Why, the whole town knows that
The town only knows what it reads in the paper. But I know, and you must know, that the man your husband killed is no ordinary robber.
I don't know anything about him.
Well, I didn't expect you to tell me anything. You're loyal. I understand that. But this is what I mean about your being hurt. As long as Harry lives and keeps on running, he'll have nothing but trouble, Mrs. Drew.
Good day, Marshal.
Oh, good evening, Mrs. Drew.
Good evening.
May I, please? Nothing personal, Lieutenant. It's just a regulation. Thank you. Go right in. Paul, you take over. I'm going to make my rounds.
All right.
Did you bring it? Let's have it. Now.
Must it be like this, Harry?
Nobody's going to get hurt. I have everything figured. But you must do exactly as I say.
Hey, let me see the shotgun, huh?
The usual, Eddie.
Evening, Henry.
Howdy, Wyatt. Sure caught you out this afternoon, didn't I?
Caught me out? It's good and clean, Eddie.
That pretty lady you followed to my store. You was sure giving her the eye.
Well, there's nothing wrong appreciating beauty, is there?
Well, appreciating's just about as close as you ought to come to that particular lady, my friend.
Oh.
You know what she bought off me?
Henry, I haven't got the slightest idea.
I know you'll think I'm kidding, Wyatt, but that pretty lady bought herself a gun off me.
A gun?
Yep, a gun. Imagine that. It was a .38. You know what she said she wanted it for? Said she was scared of Indians.
What happened? Harry's loose. He buffaloed me and got loose. Stop it, Harry, or shoot! What is it, Wyatt? What happened?
Harry's loose. He's gone to the livery stable and he's armed. I'll take the rear, you two men take the front. Get everybody off the street!
Watch yourself. It's a member of the James gang. Might as well give up, Harry. We've got you caught.
Wyatt.
Get the doctor.
Give this to Ann.
Where is she?
South Road. Hayes Ranch. Tell her. Did it for her.
Harry. Where's Harry?
He won't be coming to meet you. I'll drive you back to town, Mrs. Jones.
The great Allen Pinkerton won fame as Chief of Secret Service for the Union armies during the Civil War. After that, the detective organization he headed became the scourge of outlaw gangs on the western frontier. But sometimes the Pinkertons failed to notify local peace officers of their activities, and it was this neglect which brought Pinkerton into conflict with Wyatt Earp. Their mutual enemy was the Crummy Newton gang of train robbers, and neither Earp nor Pinkerton could afford to quarrel. Not with Crummy Newton and his men riding toward Wichita.
I don't know. That's why I sent for the marshal. Well, here he comes now. Well, thanks for getting here in such a hurry, Marshal. I've seen a lot of dead men in my time, but I've never seen anything like in the back room, laying on the floor.
You men get out of here. Close that door behind you. Shotgun in the face. You know this man, Mr. Egan?
A stranger to me.
How long ago this happened?
Hasn't been more than 20 minutes. We heard the shotgun go off, and I come in here and saw what happened and sent for you.
Killer must have run out the back door. I wonder what he was doing in here. Got no gun, nothing in his pockets except these numbers here. You got any money in that safe?
Not a dime. I use a new safe in my office behind the bar. I rarely use this office except for storage.
Well, open it up and let's take a look.
I can't do that. I mislaid the combination when I bought the new safe.
I'll try these numbers.
Money? Why, it doesn't belong to me. Why, I've got no idea how it got there.
Well, you better start getting an idea.
Mr. Earp, I swear, I know nothing about it.
Stop lying to me. A man's found killed in your place. There's money in your safe, and you're trying to tell me you know nothing about it?
That's right. No.
I should have closed your saloon and run you out of town a long time ago. I'm going to give you one more chance. You start talking and tell me the truth.
I did tell you the truth about not knowing the dead man.
Whose money is that? All right, you're closed. And if my word stands with the judge, you're going to jail.
No. Money belongs to him and Red Bascom.
And who's Red Bascom?
An acquaintance of mine. He asked me would I rent him the use of the safe for a few days. That man's Bascom's pal. I rented him the safe, and that's all I know.
You know more than that.
What?
You know you wouldn't rent that safe just to an acquaintance. Now, who's Red Bascom?
I can't tell you. He'd kill me.
All right, I think I know who he is. It's one of the names that Red Kelly uses, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Red's one of the Crummy Newton gang, isn't he? Dirtiest killers and train robbers out this way.
You want to get me killed?
No, not necessarily. But I didn't ask you to pal up with that kind of man.
Are you leaving the money here?
Yep. Red'll be back for it. If you don't tip him off. And if you do, I'm going to tell Newton you talk to me.
No. I won't tip him off, Mr. Earp. I swear.
This time I believe you, Mr. Regan. Doc Fabrique will be over to make out his coroner's report. You keep everybody out of here.
Yes.
And I don't want excuses. I want to see Marshal Earp. I'm Alan Pinkerton, and I haven't got all day.
We sent for him, Mr. Pinkerton. We had a little trouble over at the Orient Saloon. He should be here any minute.
Probably a drunken brawl. In a properly organized police department, the chief marshal lets his deputies cover the saloon. Who's your chief court official here in Wichita?
That'll be Judge Jewett, sir.
Then please tell him I'd like to see him, Alan Pinkerton. I'd like to speak to the judge and Marshal Earp at the same time.
All right, sir. Oh, this is Mr. Alan Pinkerton, the Pinkerton, Mr. Earp.
Oh, I'm very glad to know you, Mr. Pinkerton.
Why, you're so young, you can't be Wyatt Earp.
Well, we're even. I didn't think you could be Mr. Pinkerton. Just as a matter of form, may I see your credentials?
Do you need all my papers, or would a letter from the governor of Kansas be sufficient?
Well, that'll do. Won't you have a chair?
No, I haven't the time. Merely wanted to check in with you and the local judge. A courtesy call, Mr. Earp.
You after a train robber by the name of Red Kelly, alias Red Bascom?
Why, yes, that's right.
Railroad sent you, huh? Well, I'm after him, too. He just killed one of his pals down at the Orient Saloon.
Murdered? Where's the dead man?
Doc Fabrique, our coroner, is taking care of the body.
Did you see the body?
Yeah, I was pretty badly messed up by a shotgun, but I'd say he was about 35, 6 foot tall. Brown hair, brown mustache.
Poor Williams. I've been afraid of this. He was one of my men. I had him planted in the Crummy Newton gang.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's my fault. I didn't want him to risk it. I should have ordered him not to. Williams joined the Crummy Newton gang more than a year ago. He's been with them ever since. He was going to be our chief witness, and we rounded them up. He was with the gang in the Hannibal and St. Joe robbery last week.
It's a pretty brave try he made. I aim to arrest Red Bascom or Kelly or whatever name he's using tonight if I can.
No, absolutely not. My men will be here in the morning. We'll handle the case.
I'm sorry, sir.
What?
Mr. Pinkerton, the murder was committed in Wichita, and well, we kind of like to handle our own cases.
Why, that's ridiculous. You're not a detective. You're just a cowtown marshal. You must be Judge Jewett.
Yes?
I'm Alan Pinkerton.
Oh, how do you do, Mr. Pinkerton?
Not well at all. One of my best men was killed here today.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Young Mr. Earp here says he's going to handle the case.
Well, why not?
Well, I'm just a cowtown marshal, Your Honor.
Now, don't take it wrong, Earp. I merely suggested that you lack the experience. And, Judge, I must ask that you rule him out of the case.
Request denied.
Huh?
Emphatically. Mr. Pinkerton, you have great fame as a detective, but certainly no right to come into Wichita and dismiss our marshal.
Well, thank you, Your Honor. I got an idea how I can nab Red Bascom. I guess I better be working on it. Well, Mr. Pinkerton, I'm mighty glad to be able to work with you.
And what if that boy makes a mess of it?
Mr. Pinkerton, that boy is one of the best marshals on the western frontier. He hasn't mishandled a case yet. If he blunders on this one, I'll authorize you to take over, but not before.
The old yardstick dodge, Mr. Bascom. You tie a couple of matches to the end of it. Then
Didn't your train robbing pal Newton tell you never to shoot at a match flare in a dark room? Now, come on, get up. Go on.
Do you have a cigar, Mr. Pinkerton?
No, thanks, Judge. Never used them.
Mr. Pinkerton, meet Mr. Bascom.
That your man?
Yes. Well, you don't waste time, do you? Has he told you where he and Williams hid the money?
No, sir.
$40,000, Earp. It's rather important. I'll make it a whole lot easier on you if you tell me where the money is.
You find it. You're the great detective.
I'll find it. And you'll hang for murdering Williams.
Who's Williams? I never heard of him.
Why, you... Hold it, Mr. Pinkerton. We haven't got any proof that he murdered your man. As far as the money is concerned, I know where it is.
Well, why didn't you say so?
Look, you want just him and $40,000. You want Newton and the whole gang.
My first job is to recover the hold-up loot. Is it too much to ask that Marshal Earp turn over the $40,000?
I think that request is quite in order, Wyatt.
All right, sir, if that's the way you want it.
But you don't agree.
No, sir, I don't. If Newton finds out that Mr. Pinkerton recovered the money, he'll never come into Wichita.
We'll get him eventually. I must insist, Judge.
All right. Turn over the money, Wyatt.
Yes, sir. Paul, book Mr. Bascom on suspicion of murder. Ollie, put him in cell 2.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pinkerton, the $40,000 is in the back room of the Orient Saloon. I suppose you want to handle this yourself.
That's right. I do.
You know, I'm no great detective, Judge, but I'd still rather have Newton and his whole gang.
It's empty.
Yeah, it sure is. Makes me look kind of stupid, doesn't it?
Well, I knew you'd bungle it. Or did you?
What do you mean?
There was a small fortune. You told me you knew the hiding place and you had the combination. I'm going to have a little talk with Judge Jewett.
Yeah, you do that. Unlock it.
Questioning me is a waste of time.
Somebody took that money.
Oh, what's a trick?
No trick. You've been double-crossed, Red.
Why, the dirty Irisher. Well, nothing I can do about it.
Well, that suits me. I'm releasing you.
What?
Insufficient evidence. Go on, get out of here.
No trick?
Nope.
All right.
Paul, give him his gun and gun belt back. Ollie, tail him. I don't care what he does. Just stay out of sight and follow him.
Don't misunderstand me, Judge. I'm not accusing Earp as to the robbery hall. It may well be, as he says, that the saloon keeper could open that safe, and that he, the saloon keeper, took the money after Red Bascom's arrest.
Well, I believe Wyatt.
Ah, but do you think he acted within his authority when he released Bascom?
No, Mr. Pinkerton, I don't.
Isn't it true that a man arrested on suspicion of murder can only be released by a judge?
Yes.
Then Earp has arrogated to himself a judicial function.
I'm sure that Marshal Earp must have had some compelling reason when he turned Bascom loose.
All right, Earp. What reason?
Mr. Bascom is small fry, Mr. Pinkerton. But he'll get the money back from the man who took it. And then he'll lead us to Newton.
Stupid thinking.
Hold on now. If we assume that Bascom recovered the money, why do you believe he'd take it to Newton?
Because he's afraid of Newton. Means his life if he makes off with more than his share. I think he'll either try to take the money to Newton or he'll wait until Newton comes into town for the whacking up. But either way, I'll get Newton.
Absurd, a pipe dream. The money is gone and so is Bascom. And I stand here empty-handed because of your impudent effort to play detective.
Wyatt.
Tell Ollie to put 4 more guards on the hotel. Bascom just killed Egan, the owner of the Orient Saloon. Took the $40,000 and my deputies have him holed up in a room over at the Wichita Hotel.
Don't you owe Wyatt an apology?
Well, if this is true, and he goes to the hotel, arrests Bascom, and recovers the money...
Oh, shut up! Look, I want Newton and his whole gang. He's taken 10 times $40,000 from banks and trains. Mr. Pinkerton thinks I'm stupid. Well, I think he's an idiot.
Watch your temper, Marshal. I don't think either of you are stupid. I think you're both trying honestly to clean up the Newtons. You just differ as to method.
Now, listen, this is my case. It always was. My men will be here in the morning, and they will proceed as I say. And I wouldn't advise you to try to stop us. Good night, Judge.
Good night. Wyatt, you're on shaky ground, you know. Releasing Bascom was quite out of order.
Sir, Mr. Pinkerton thought I stole that money. I had to release Red, hoping that he'd go after it.
I've stood by you as long as I can, Wyatt.
Sir?
You mustn't have any more trouble with Pinkerton. He carries a special appointment from the governor. He can walk into any federal court and accuse you of obstructing justice.
Even when he's wrong?
Right or wrong, you keep out of his way. He's too big for us, Wyatt. I can't save you again. Good night, Wyatt.
Good night, Judge.
Ollie's got the hotel covered, Wyatt. Wants to know what to do if Bascom makes a run for it.
Follow him.
Loading the punchline special, huh? You expecting to do some long-range shooting tomorrow?
I don't know what I'm expecting.
I overheard Mr. Pinkerton say that his men would be here in the morning.
Yep.
You going to turn the case over to them?
No. But I think Bascom will stay holed up. I think Pinkerton will try and go in after him in the morning. If he does, there'll be a fight. The man I release from jail will kill a Pinkerton or two, and I'll be blamed for it. And I won't be marshal anymore. But there are more important things than being a marshal.
Good morning, Al.
Morning, boss.
Crummy Newton rob any more trains?
No, but we got a report last night that he's headed this way.
We'll take care of him later. Red Bascom's holed up in there with the money.
Hey, great work, boss. Mr. Pinkerton's cornered Red. Where's Charlie Williams?
Dead. Killed right here in town.
Bascom?
Yeah.
We'll even up for Charlie. George, you and Mike take the back.
Brick and I'll take the front. Boss, you stay out of this.
I'm not staying out of it.
You got a warrant to search this hotel?
I don't need a warrant.
Well, I say you do.
Earp, you're still stupid.
Look, Mr. Pinkerton, will you give me a chance to work this out my own way?
Now you're obstructing justice and defending a murderer and a thief.
Get out of our way.
Hold it.
I warned you, Wyatt.
They haven't got a search warrant.
I don't need a warrant. I'm after a murderer. And I think Earp should turn in his star.
He will. There's your search warrant, Mr. Pinkerton. I'm sorry, Wyatt.
Well, at last, we got rid of the local genius, Mr. Earp.
Mr. Pinkerton, he got away. He rode off just we got around his back.
Which way was he headed?
Straight out of town on the west road.
Let's go get him, boys.
They'll get him.
Sure. If Newton doesn't ambush him.
Wyatt, where are you going?
I think they'll need a little help.
Well, he ought to be here
pretty quick. I still think he'll be here soon. Here he comes now. We were talking about you.
The Pinkertons are right behind him. We haven't even got time to make a run for it.
We'll have to bushwhack them. Hide the horses, men. Never mind the fires. Hurry up, get them on outside.
Come on, get him under cover over there. All right, everybody stay down now. Wait till I get all the way in.
Hurry up, get them outside.
Come on, get him out of there.
It looks like a bushwhack. Shouldn't we fire a few times to warn the Pinkertons?
No. I want Newton.
The Pinkertons will ride right into that ambush.
It's none of my business. Pinkerton made me a private citizen. Here they come.
Hold it. There's their fire.
Morning, Pinkerton. You after me?
Stop it. We haven't a chance.
You'll pay for that, mister. The great Pinkerton riding into a bushwhack, just like any greenhorn from New York.
I'm the one you want, not my men.
Oh, there's plenty of time for the killing. Get off your horse. You're hoping I'll make it quick and easy, with a bullet through your head. Back away. I like the looks of you with your hands up, knowing you're going to get a bullet in your belly.
Take a shot at me, Newton.
You killed him.
No, just creased his skull.
Well, maybe you'd better crease my skull.
Isn't worth going to jail for, Mr. Pinkerton. You can take Newton and his boys back to town.
You won't have any more trouble with Red Bascom, Wyatt.
Is he dead? Bascom brought the money into camp. It's probably hidden over there in the brush someplace.
Al, see if you can find the money bag over the brush. Let's get the cuffs on these men, put the wounded on the horses. Let's get back to town.
All right, boys, let's look for the money.
Hey, Wyatt, why let Pinkerton take all the credit? We're the ones that saved his life, and we're the ones that did grab that Newton gang.
What are you after, Ollie? Place in history? Most of that stuff's just written from hearsay by men that are too lazy to dig up the real facts. And so, Pinkerton's a big hero, and I'm a skunk. Who's going to know the difference 100 years from now?
Wyatt, why don't you wait until Mayor Hope and Mr. Murdoch get back from Kansas City? Or let me go to the judge and tell him the truth.
Never draw against the drop, Ollie.
Hello, Wyatt. Ollie. Wyatt, Mr. Pinkerton told me just what happened on the trail today.
Yes, I was wrong, and I'm sorry.
All right.
I don't blame you for being sore, but it seems to me when Mr. Pinkerton wants to make amends, you should be big enough to accept his offer.
Herb, I'd like to hire you for my organization at twice what you're getting here.
Of course, I'd beg you to take your star back, but we can't afford to double your salary.
$500 a month and expenses.
Well, I don't want your job, Mr. Pinkerton. First place, I wouldn't work for you.
Then take back your star, with my apologies.
On one condition.
Yes?
Mr. Pinkerton, my deputies feel that they lost out on some glory. I want you to mention their names in your report on this case.
And yours, too.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Pinkerton, I've done a few smart things and been cussed. I've made a lot of stupid mistakes and been praised, so I just as soon you wouldn't mention my name at all.
Well, if that's the way you want it.
That's the way I want it.
Wichita, Kansas of 1875, there was one subject more deadly than the raids of outlaws or the gunfights between cowhands. Should women be allowed to vote? Yes, we smile now, but this was a controversy which erupted in violence along the frontier. And when the women's suffrage movement hit Wichita like a tornado, Marshal Wyatt Earp found himself caught between the two warring factions, with his life and his job at stake.
I want to tear that sign down.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, let's break it up. We're both under arrest.
What are you arresting me for, Marshal?
Takes two to make a fight, Mr. Donovan.
Well, we don't want no suffragettes from Wyoming telling us folks in Kansas what to do.
I'm from Wyoming. We gave him the vote 5 years ago, and it ain't done no harm. I take him to jail. I got it. And the rest of you break it up.
My boss's wife is a suffragette.
Well, she ain't right bright. You calling? That told you to break it up. Now hold it. He says he's going to roust that lady speaker as soon as she leaves the depot.
Thanks. I better go on down there.
Well, I told you to hold it, and you walk with me until you cool off. Well, there ought to be a law against these... Bring it up in the next Congress. I'm ashamed to say this, Miss Laramie, but you're invading enemy country.
Oh, that's not unusual for me, Mr. Murdoch. Why, I've even had eggs thrown at me several times.
We have rough ways in Wichita.
Rough? Why, you publish the best paper west of Kansas City.
Thank you, ma'am.
And that darling wife of yours. I know it was brave of her to invite me to speak, but there won't be any trouble, I'm sure.
Well, this is my office, Miss Laramie.
Sorry, Mr. Murdoch, it's as far as she goes.
Jim, what is this?
We're not going to hurt Miss Laramie. Just make sure she gets back on the next train.
You men must be drunk or crazy. Oh! All right, don't try anything. Get off your horses. Nice timing, Wyatt.
That poor man, you killed him.
No. He's just groggy.
This is Mr. Earp, our town marshal. In all the gunfights and melees he's had to go through, he's never once seriously hurt or killed a man.
Ollie, you and Paul take him on over to jail. I better go on over to the hotel with you.
Yes, I think you have.
No. You take my things on over to the hotel, Mr. Murdoch. I'm going to the jail.
Jail?
Why, yes. I have to help those poor cowhands. And I want to talk to you, Mr. Earp.
Oh?
Miss Laramie is our guest, Wyatt. She has the freedom of the town. I'll bring Mrs. Murdoch over to the hotel later.
Thank you. Jails don't shock me. And please don't offer me your arm. And I can't quite follow your reasoning, Mr. Earp. Those men are simply misguided. Why keep them in jail?
Attempted abduction, wearing guns within the city limits.
Well, won't you let me sign bond for them?
That's up to the judge. Now, won't you please sit down? Look, Miss Laramie, woman suffrage is a political controversy. It's not my job to take sides. I'm hired to keep order.
Oh, a wishy-washy neutral.
No, I'm a peace officer. I stop fights and try to prevent cowhands from interfering with you. Now, as to this meeting of yours tonight.
Yes?
May start a riot. I think you ought to change the place of the meeting and hold it on the other side of town.
Oh, that's nonsense. Wichita is a civilized town.
Wyatt! Wyatt, there's a big free-for-all down at Keno Corner. You better hurry.
Guns?
No, just fist-fighting, Ollie says, but it could turn into a gunfight.
Yeah. Well, as you say, Miss Laramie, Wichita is a civilized town. I'll see you later.
with you guys?
Break it up! And the next time I catch any of you fighting like this, you're going to spend 5 days in jail. Now go on, break it up. Go on.
You favor votes for women?
Not at the moment. How do you stand, Wyatt?
I'm lucky I'm standing at all. Some one person started that uproar out there.
Yes, I think Senator Mike Teague has passed the word.
Teague, when did he get back?
Last night. I begged my wife not to hold that meeting downtown.
Is the senator feeling that much against voting for women?
If women had the vote in Kansas, Mike wouldn't last long as a politician. Crusty, middle-aged bachelor.
His boys could start a riot.
Sure. I told Mrs. Murdoch. You know what her reply was? She said, we hire men to keep order. If anything happens at the music hall, it'll be your fault.
Oh, that's nice.
Did you speak to Miss Laramie about moving the rally?
I did. No luck. Now I'll go have a talk with the other side of the argument, Mike Teague. Hey, cheer up. What do you got to be so sad about?
I have to write an editorial on women's suffrage.
I thought being Marshal of Wichita was tough. Good luck.
And I think I may honestly say, I have too much respect for the ladies. May heaven always bless them, to have their pure natures trapped in the pit of politics.
Amen, Senator. You know, I read in the Kansas City Star that the strain of voting would be bad for their health. Now, what do you think of that, Senator?
A very important point. Who'd want his mother, his sister, or his wife jostling among men for a place at the polls on election day? We put our women on a pedestal. Why, gentlemen, if we force them to vote, they'll be running for office next.
Impossible, sir.
No, sir, not impossible. And what would happen to the law with women on juries and women judges? Oh, and speaking of the law, here's my good friend Marshal Earp. Excuse me, gentlemen. Well, Wyatt, how are you?
Well, I'm in good health, Senator, but there seems to be an epidemic of broken heads around.
Oh, you mean this suffragette business? A nasty bad thing.
Well, I'd kind of like to talk to you about it.
Well, certainly. Shall we rest ourselves, Wyatt?
Why don't we go in the back room?
Of course. Good idea. Oh. Give all the boys a drink. On the Senator.
Now, look, it's my job to head off any more trouble before it gets started. And the Douglas Avenue crowd would listen to you, Senator. It'd be a big help if you asked the boys to cool off. What do you say?
Wyatt, you've made a great record here. I'm proud of what you've done for Wichita.
But you won't call off the rough stuff, huh?
Oh, let's not put it that way.
Well, how would you put it?
I think she's after starting a riot so she can be a martyr. That's the way they put it over in Wyoming. Oh, you're one of the Lord's innocents when it comes to politics, Wyatt. The Laramie woman is a female John Brown. This is a police matter involving the public safety. I think you should close the music hall.
What good would that do? They just hold their meeting out in the street.
Then arrest the woman and escort her to the first train.
Are you that afraid of it?
What?
Look, the females have been voting in Wyoming for several years. They got one of the best territorial governments I know about.
Miss Laramie has made a quick convert.
No, sir. But I've made a quick discovery. It isn't just political conscience that bothers you. You're afraid of women. And the way they may vote. You've been waiting here all this time?
Yes. Your men brought in a dozen more cowhands. Some of them have been brutally treated.
Well, we didn't do it. They got bruised up fighting among themselves.
Well, I must take your word for that. I don't suppose you'll release them without fines.
It's up to the judge.
Here's $500. Can I post this? If it comes tomorrow, you could let me know at the hotel.
All right. You want me to let the newspaper know about it?
It might help our cause.
Mm-hmm. I just had a talk with Senator Teague.
Oh, him.
Well, you know the senator.
By reputation. He's one of our worst enemies in Kansas.
I also had a talk with Mr. Murdoch. We both think that you ought to hold tonight's meeting on the other side of town.
No.
All right, then maybe I can put on enough special deputies to protect you.
I don't want police protection.
That's for me to decide, not you.
Oh, I found you out at last, Marshal Earp. You're against us.
Wait a minute, Miss Laramie. All the women I know believe in equal rights.
Indeed.
But they realize it's going to be a long fight. Now, you think you had a real tussle in Wyoming. Well, the men outnumber the women 8-1 there. The politicians gave you that vote.
Oh, no, we won it.
Only because the men figured that your vote wouldn't amount to anything. Soon there'll be as many women as there are men in Kansas. It's a different deal here. If you don't stop behaving like a fool, you're going to set your cause back years and years.
And how should I behave?
Like a woman. Ollie, in a half hour, I want you and Paul to go on over to the music hall. Watch that front door. Frisk every man for guns, rocks, and rotten eggs. I'll have the special deputies inside and on the back door. They'll all be carrying guns inside their coat.
Oh, hi, Mr. Murdoch.
Ollie. Got to talk to you, Wayne. Look, the special deputies will be here any minute. Why don't you go outside and meet them?
Okay.
Right. Any trouble starts, I want you to know who they are.
Right. Yes, sir.
You don't look too happy. What's wrong?
That Laramie woman. She's talked the mayor into calling off your plans.
What?
They were ashamed to hand you this. I do all the dirty work. No police protection, just 2 officers outside the music hall.
Well, Jim Hope's the boss.
I'm sorry, Wyatt. They'll all be sorry long before that meeting's over.
Yeah. It'll be too late. Maybe I could say I never got this order.
Whoa, now, Wyatt.
Worst thing you can do is fire me.
Well, we could both be wrong. What if nothing happens at all? We can't afford to rile up the mayor.
Well, maybe you're right. I'm gonna still keep my deputies close by. Any trouble starts so we can get there in time. Maybe.
The next thing you know, they'll be going into saloons and buying voices. Stay in there. What's the matter with you?
All I said was it'd be all right for Texas women to vote.
And I say Alabama women can vote. They have as much sense as Texas women.
Don't you say nothing about Texas women.
That's right. All I got to say to you is...
Oh, so... Get in there.
Get in. Oh, no. Hey, just a little. Hold it, Red. Right here, hold it yourself. Just a minute, Red.
Hold it.
Hold it.
Why, you... Hold it. Save your strength for inside.
All
Now
right.
Go on in.
All right. Ain't even having any fun.
Senator?
Just a little argument, Wyatt. No harm done.
What was that remark I heard you make about saving strength for inside?
You misunderstood me. What I said...
My hearing's right good, Senator. I asked you to keep your crowd in order. You better do it.
Are you threatening me?
You can call it anything you want. But if there is any trouble, you're going to go to jail along with the rest of them.
You're working awfully hard to lose a good job.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, may I present Miss Joan Laramie, the Joan of Arc from Wyoming. Miss Laramie.
Please. I am not a monster. I haven't come here to put the people of Wichita in a dungeon. I have come to ask that you set free 1/2 of your own people who are now in chains. Yes, The women of Kansas are not free. No woman in this republic is free until she has the right to vote. I repeat, no woman is free until she has the right to vote.
Doc for breaks office. All right, there's a couple of men in there who need medical attention. I know it. I'll send some men over.
Hold still, blast you. By rights, I ought to saw your leg off.
Why, Doc? Which side you on?
Neither one. I believe in taking the votes away from everybody until they prove they got the brains that the good Lord gave a goose. Huh? Stay outside. I got enough in here already.
Bleeding pretty bad, Doc.
Sit down and wait your turn.
Why, Doc, you know me.
Sit down and shut up. There's a man over here's got a slug in his chest. Up on the table, Sonny. Easy now.
Oh, Senator Teague?
Yes? Oh, it's Miss Laramie.
Oh, please don't try to get up. I heard you've been injured. Is it very bad?
Ah, the ministering angel.
Let me see. Oh, doctor. Doctor.
You wait your turn.
I will not.
Give me a hand, boy. Just hold his shoulder. It's a big wound. Very dangerous.
Oh, doctor, this won't do. He needs some stitches.
All right, sister. Why don't you go and find a needle and a thimble?
Doctor, I am Joan Laramie, and this is Senator Teague.
Yes, yes, I know all about it. And a fine howdy-do you both started. Before you know it, they'll be bringing Wyatt in here dead. Let the senator bleed.
I'll be all right.
Well, a bandage is better than a handkerchief. Is it true that your people started the riot?
Well, now,
Don't lie to her, Mike.
He doesn't have to lie to me. I've made friends of some of my bitterest political enemies.
I hold to my opinion.
Politics. Talk. That's all you keep doing. While I'm over here working, trying to patch these people up, fixing the voters so they can go to the polls. Hey, it's getting quiet outside. Let me see that wound. You don't need any stitches. Get out of here, both of you. I got men out in that waiting room that need knife and bullet work. Don't tell me they missed you.
I was lucky. Senator, can you walk to jail?
You're not arresting me.
That's right. Come on.
Why,
You better come, too.
We're both under arrest?
That's right.
On what charge, might I ask?
Inciting to riot.
You're right, Wyatt. The senator just the same as admitted that his crowd started the trouble.
There's a dead man over at the Texas Hotel bar. Come on. Persecution.
Persecution. Politics. Oh, every day it's something new. Talk. Politics. How would he come now? Oh, boy. Politics.
Wally? Yes, sir. These two people will be staying with us until I talk to the judge.
You can't get away with this, Wyatt.
That's for the judge to decide.
After you're fired, my friends may hurt you.
Well, thank you for warning me, Senator. If you'd like to use my desk to write another speech, go right ahead.
No, thank you.
Keep the door locked behind me. Yes, sir.
Like some water?
Yes. Not in that. That fellow Earp deserves to be fired.
He will be.
But, Senator, you said your friends would hurt him. You didn't mean that.
I can't control my friends.
But the mayor will release us, and the judge will discharge Mr. Earp. Isn't that enough?
You started this thing.
I did nothing of the sort. I came here to make a speech.
On a bitterly controversial matter.
But your friends started the fighting.
I don't admit that.
Well, it's true. And fortunately can be proven. Sorry I tried to make friends with a hoodlum like you.
Calling names now.
I've said all I'm going to say.
Good.
This time you may have lost your temper and used bad judgment. I can't understand why you arrested Teague and Miss Laramie. You can't prove incitement to riot against either of them.
That's what they did, Judge.
I agree with Wyatt. Did Miss Laramie incite the audience to use force?
No, sir.
Have you any witnesses that will swear that Teague ordered his crowd to break up the meeting?
No, sir.
All right. Then you'd better release them at once and apologize.
I'll apologize to Miss Laramie.
That will not satisfy Teague. And he's a state senator from this district.
I don't care who he is.
Now, Wyatt.
Look, there was a man killed tonight and a lot of others were hurt. Now, if you and the mayor want me to resign, all right, but he gets no apology.
I advise you to reconsider.
Wyatt, there's been enough trouble already.
No, let's go all the way. I quit.
Now, Wyatt.
Now, wait a minute.
Think this over.
Mayor, we want to talk to you. Come on out here.
Your friends?
I know them.
You heard me turn the senator loose.
Wyatt isn't here. You men better go home.
Call to them. Tell them to stop.
He's asking for it.
Then I will.
No, wait. You keep out of it.
6 men against 1? Is that really what you believe in?
I'm a hoodlum. Your own word.
I got him covered, Wyatt. Just give me the word and I'll blast him.
Hold it. Don't pay any attention to this star I'm wearing. I'm not the marshal anymore. I quit.
That's real good news. Hold it. One of his deputies will plug us in the back.
No, they won't. Ollie, whoever's inside there, stay out of this.
Drop it. No fight.
All right, Senator. All we wanted was to get you out of there.
He's out. The judge ordered him released. You too, Miss Laramie.
Just like I said, Wyatt. Come on, boys.
He saved your life.
Maybe.
You aren't really going to quit, are you, Mr. Earp?
It's already done. The judge asked me to apologize to you, so I apologize.
Is that why you want to quit?
No, I arrested Teague and the judge wouldn't back me up.
But you were wrong, you know.
I was wrong about the man being killed?
Yes, the senator was trying to stop his men. I was wrong tonight, too. And just as stubborn about it as you are.
Oh?
I'm going to hold another meeting, but away from downtown. I'm sure Senator Teague won't object at all. Mr. Earp, you're a brave man and a good officer. Won't you change your mind and...
Wyatt, there's trouble at Dr. Bick's office. Some of the cowhands that got hurt are threatening to start the fight all over again.
Tell Doc I'll be right down.
All right.
I'll see you at the next meeting. And you know, I really do favor votes for women.
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail. Oh, Wyatt!